but I'm starting to lose echolocation.
How about? Did you try standing here with the mic and
with this down?
Pointed at kind of your mouth.
Yeah, we practiced that. Yeah.
If you have it too high, then it looks funny because it's on your face.
How about this? Is that a good?
Looks, yeah, I can
Okay.
hear it.
Could you do me a favor? I'm going to be doing an installation, and I need a picture in front of a UU with a stole. Yeah, I'll do that.
Do you want kind of close up, or do you want a whole?
Let's do try a few. Yeah, I think. I don't.
Okay, look at those.
Let's see.
What you think.
Okay. I love that back. That's nice. You know, one more thing. If this could be a little higher with that, and then a little less of that, and then closer up is good. Yeah. Oh, it went away. Okay.
It's like the whole pulpit. I mean, the whole chalice.
Okay. things change, but yeah. Okay. What about both? My joys, this, my sorrows. I think there's room for both. here? Yeah. Yeah.
Usually no, there's a public copy there.
Okay. I
Good morning. Welcome to Kitsap Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Please rise in body or spirit to join in singing our call to worship, which is Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, which is number 361 in our gray hymnal. Thanks, everyone. Once again, welcome to Kitsap Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are so glad to be together in this loving, vibrant community. Whoever you are and wherever you come from, we are here, one gathered congregation, and all are welcome. My name is Marcia Kristen, and in the spirit of our KUUF mission, and also a part of our ever-evolving and growing welcome, I'm going to offer my self-description. So I am standing on a step behind this podium, if you didn't figure that out. I am maybe what would be labeled a shorter person. I have blue eyes and I'm wearing glasses. Outside, it appears to be a little bit on the cloudy side. And there are trees that have all kinds of different leaves and moss that is growing on the trees. And I hope that I give off some kind of warm welcome. I come as a lay leader because I love deep and meaningful things. and yes, I also kind of like to be in control. So I like to read things and go at the pace that I think might be supportive and spiritual. But it gives me a chance, a way to pause and remember kind of the abundance of the world, and I think I need to know that a lot sometimes. I need to know that infinite love is always available. Our worship leader this morning is Reverend Jennifer DeBusk Alviar. So glad that she's here. Reverend Alviar is a UU minister whose unique call is to expand the welcome table of hospitality, inclusion, and liberation. We are so happy to have you here. She comes to us from Seattle, where she lives with her family, which is the Duwamish land. And I'd also like to welcome any visitors who are coming today. If you are here in person, we all look forward to welcoming you outside after the service. I also invite you to follow along in the order of service. For those who are attending virtually, all the links for the service, including the order of service, is on our website. And in this morning's worship service email, you can find that there. And if you're here in the sanctuary this morning, please silence all your electronic devices if you do not need them making noise. The announcements are also available on the website for anyone else at www.kuuf.org. And we also have a weekly newsletter called The Candle, which you can keep up on. And now I'd like to invite us into that sacred space that we're creating here together with the land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the Aboriginal territory of the Duwamish people. Expert fishermen, canoe builders, and basket weavers, the Duwamish live in harmony with the lands and waterways along Washington's central Salish Sea, as they have for thousands of years. Here, the Duwamish live and protect the land and waters of their ancestors for future generations, as promised by the Point Elliott Treaty of 1855. And I invite you to also hold sacred that protection of the land and waterways. So for our chalice lighting today, we will have Maya Demick and Amelia Demick. Maya is going to read the chalice lighting words while Amelia Demick lights the chalice. Maya was born into the KUF community and enjoys speaking and reading in front of people. Wow. She also served on last year's auction committee and designed the flyer for it, which we're very appreciative for. And Amelia will light the chalice. Amelia enjoys snuggling with her dog and playing games that have lots of movement. So join me now in lighting our chalice. If you have your own chalice or candle at home, please light it as Maya reads these words written by Kathleen McTeague.
We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. This house of laughter and of silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence together.
Thank you. Please join me now in the spoken affirmation. The words will appear on the screen. We gather as a caring community seeking life's deeper meanings. We value diversity and affirm the worth of all living things. We strive to speak truth in love, to act for justice, to grow in spirit, and to care for the earth. We celebrate with open hearts and minds the creative power that sustains and transforms us. Our next hymn, There's a River Flowing in My Soul, is number 1007 in the Teal hymnal. And although the song was written in the last 50 years, it has all the hallmarks of a 19th century spiritual. The only information available about the author, who is Rose Sanders, is that she was born in 1945. The words she wrote are a radical statement of inherent worth and dignity. So please rise in body and or spirit to join in singing hymn number 1007, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. Now, Melinda Hughes, our Director of Religious Education, will share our Time for All Ages.
Good morning, everyone. I am a white woman in my mid-50s with quite faded red hair, wearing glasses and a teal shirt. And I'm excited to be here with you this morning and to share this book that was introduced new to me. And we got this book and we have it in our library, so I'm very excited about this. This book is titled Some Brains, a book celebrating neurodiversity by Nellie Thomas. My brain thinks like this. Is time an illusion? And his brain thinks like that. What is for breakfast? Some brains are strong at the front, and others at the back, and others at the side. That's just a fact. My brain does stuff that others just can't. They try and they try, but their brain says, I won't. I wonder if they get bored. They should lodge a complaint to the Ministry of Neurodiversity. I am writing to formally complain about the following aspects of being neurotypical. 1, I cannot smell when the rain is coming. 2, my artwork looks like Griffin's, and his looks like Penelope's. 3, I don't think I'll ever mistake my wife for a hat. I don't have a wife either. Can you please help me? Love, Nellie. I see letters fall from the page. Leah knows everything about the Ice Age. Jan sees numbers swirling in circles and can even smell purple. If you want a great idea, have me on your team. I'll show you an angle you probably won't see. My neuro is not typical. That's why you need me. My neuro is not typical. What a cool part of me. Some people call me different, but what does that mean? We're all different in some way, or you would be me. I really like quiet, but my family is loud. Jaden likes everything, and Molly only likes clouds. My cousin eats all meals. I'm more fastidious. Jacob only eats white food. Alice says red fruit is hideous. My brother has heaps of friends. I like 1, 2, or 3. He likes big crowds. I prefer family and me. I talk with words. Heidi tells you stuff with art. Hamish uses his body. Jake uses iPads and charts. Some kids are boys and others are girls. I am both or neither. All kids are the joy of the world. All kids are the joy of the world. School can be hard, but sometimes it's okay. Grown-ups are confusing and make me wait all day. Noise makes me tired, and I go home like this. I groan, it's so loud and smelly. Why can't I give it a miss? I do things at school to help me feel better, like tapping my feet or tracing over letters. If I look like I'm struggling, just give me a minute or 30. I might need a rest or my brain will get hurty. All kids have feelings, but my feelings are huge. Mom says my heart is tender and sometimes needs refuge. Be kind and patient, and I'll be happy with you. All brains are special. All brains are smart. All kids have big thoughts. All kids have big hearts. All kids are special. Just follow their hearts. Just follow their hearts. Some grown-ups like boxes. They want everyone same. But kids aren't built for boxes. Kids are built to play. Dear grown-ups, please put your boxes away. People have been different forever and ever. That's why we built bridges, so we can all get together. My family says, we love you just as you are, and in every single way. Would we ever change you? No way, Jose. But my name is not Jose. Love me just as I am. So, what a lovely book about a truly inclusive community. And what a lovely opportunity we have to be that community for so many. Some of you might not know, but the children have, and adults, you're welcome to use them too. We have a box of fidgets that we have out there for just such things like this. Maybe some people need to fidget or tap or move. So we have a box of them out there on the table. I think this morning we have some snakes in the room, snake fidgets. And you might notice that we have 3 or 4 kids that use Chewies, and we have poppets, and we have coloring books, and we have silly putty and etch-a-sketches and all kinds of things. Because sometimes it's just hard to sit still for everybody of all ages, no matter how wonderful the message is. So with that, I would like to invite you to rise and body your spirit as we sing our children on their way up to the Matin building.
So we gather as a religious community to give each one of us a place where we can do the work of many. Together, our light is much brighter than a solitary flame. So now is the time in our service when we share in the sacred act of giving, an expression of gratitude and transformed into generosity that breathes life into our mission. As a part of our mission that inspires us to act on our beliefs, we share our weekly offering with a local nonprofit agency providing services within the larger community. Our charitable giving recipient for the month of May is Kitsap Immigrant Assistance Center. And in a moment, our ushers will move among us with baskets to collect the offering. Donations placed in the basket will go to Kitsap Immigrant Assistance Center. If you would like your offering to be used for KUF, please use one of the envelopes provided to you with your order of service when you came into the sanctuary. And for those joining us online, you may go to our website, kuuf.org, and select the Giving tab for PayPal and mailing information. And if this is your first time at KUUF, please feel free to let the basket pass you by, because your presence is your gift. Let there be an offering to strengthen and sustain our community, which is sacred to so many of us. Let us enjoy a gift of music, Simple Gifts by Liv Story, from our music coordinator, Brian Kenny. Wow. Thank you so much. We are blessed with this music. Now is the time for our joys and sorrows. When shared together, our joys are amplified and our sorrows are lessened. We have a few today. We have a sorrow from Ellen Newberg. Please send healing energy to Hilda Burlingate as she recovers from knee surgery. And we also have a joy from Michael Miller, who's here today. The joy is that music is a joy, and that I am grateful for a spirit of resilience for surviving many challenging things. Welcome, Michael. And then I have a joy that last month I celebrated my 40th wedding anniversary with my husband, and that is a true joy in my life. Thank you. And we light one last candle for those joys and sorrows that are still too tender to share.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Jennifer Alviar. It has been a delight. I feel honored to be with you. Thank you for the beautiful music, speaking from the heart. And I'd like to invite you into a time for meditation. For meditation today, I invite us to take a deep breath, relax our bodies, and engage in the fullness of our senses. You're welcome to follow me as I guide us through embodied prayer. Spirit of love, relax the tensions of my body, still the anxieties of my mind, calm the storm of my heart. Give me courage to wait. Let peace flow in me, through me, from me. The deep, deep, deep peace of love. May it be so. And please remain seated as we sing Spirit of Life, hymn 123 in our gray hymnal. The words will appear on your screen. Once again, for my introduction, self-description, I am a woman, medium height, short blonde hair, glasses, wearing a blue dress with a turquoise blazer and a multicolored blue stole. And now I share with you a reading for our worship. This is a reading by Joseph Cherry called Prayer for Living Intention. If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to move into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, loving enough to forgive ourselves and each other. May we, as a people of faith, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. And now, please join me in a moment of reflection, followed by our post-reflection music. Words matter. Language matters. These are building blocks that are foundational in shaping our society and how we treat one another. And it begins early. Let me illustrate with a story. It is a crisp fall September morning, back to school season. As I pick up my 4-year-old daughter, Madeline, from her first day of preschool, I notice that she is holding a brightly colored patterned cloth bag in her hands. So I ask, "What do you have there, Madeline?" And she wiggles and squirms as preschoolers do. She said, "Mommy, this is my letter bag project." Teacher Cindy says that each day we will learn a new letter of the alphabet. You and I will search for 4 household objects, and it was going to match the letter for each of that day. If we find a 5th object, we're going to earn a bonus prize. All right, game on. So on this particular day, we happen to be searching for objects that match the letter F. We find a toy frog, a flower, a flashlight, and a fan. So the thing is that I noticed that on the fan it's decorated with fish. So does that mean it's 1 or 2? I don't know. But just to make sure that we earn the bonus prize, I tell Madeline that we will take a break and search again in the morning. The next morning arrives, and my eyes scanned the kitchen for clues as we eat breakfast. And there, tucked away in the corner of Madeline's toy box, I spy the object. I actually feel like a spy myself. So, stealthy, sneaky, and clever, I glide over to the object and pick it up. I present it to Madeline in a ceremonial gesture. Here you go, a toy phone for your letter F bag. Madeline receives it in a spirit in which she has gifted it, and she carefully places the treasured phone in the letter F bag. We exchange extra big hugs that day. I drop her off at school, mission accomplished. Fast forward to dinner time. Our families are gathered around the table to share highlights of our day. When my husband, Christopher, asks Madeline about her day at school, she can hardly contain herself. Daddy, we found a 5th object as a bonus prize for our letter bag project. Wow, that's great, Christopher exclaims. Tell me about your object. Madeline announces proudly, Mommy put a toy phone in my letter F bag. The expression on Christopher's face does not match the gleeful looks on our faces. Noticing that he is navigating some very delicate territory, he approaches with caution. Just a friendly reminder, the word phone begins with a PH, not an F. I pause to consider this very inconvenient fact. I was having such a fun day with phonics. Christopher eases his way into a follow-up question. So, what did Teacher Cindy say? I responded, somewhat defensively, well, I'm sure she was forgiving in keeping with the letter F. But the fact remained that I'd made a grammatical mistake, and I was a bit curious what Teacher Cindy might say. So the next morning, in an easy breezy sort of way, I approached Teacher Cindy. I chuckled and remarked, you know, the funniest thing happened yesterday. Did you perhaps, I'm trying to balance up here. Did you perhaps find a toy phone in Madeline's letter F bag? Teacher Cindy smiled at me with sheer warmth and kindness. "Don't worry about it," she said. "It happens all the time." As you know, the students are learning about dinosaurs for science class. One child named Sarah put dinosaur bones in her letter F bag. I bent down low and met her at eye level. I said, "Sarah, I am so curious and excited to hear about your thoughts about dinosaur bones in your letter F bag." Sarah met my gaze with unwavering confidence. With strong conviction in her voice, she replied, "My mommy says that dinosaurs are fierce and ferocious." So of course I put them in my letter F bag. Of course. Thanks to Sarah's out-of-the-box thinking, I felt absolutely vindicated. Whew, yeah, right. Words matter. Language matters. Not just for 4-year-olds learning the alphabet, but for all of us in recognizing how power plays into language within a cultural context. You see, this letter bag project wasn't just a game. It hit home on a personal level. In 1977, I survived a life-threatening brain hemorrhage as a 6-year-old child. I experienced word-finding difficulties. Some things don't always change. The bursting of blood vessels left me temporarily voiceless and silent. While I may have lacked verbal expression for a period of time, my body found alternative forms of self-expression and self-advocacy through music, dance, writing, and drawing. The music here has been beautiful in the flowing of the river and our bodies, voice. There's so many ways to express ourselves and be embodied and sacred and whole. Today, in my vocation as a Unitarian Universalist minister and a disability justice advocate, my quest is to use language in whatever embodied form it may take to liberate and empower. In doing so, my desire is to shift the paradigm of how disabled people are treated in society to avoid the silencing of systemic oppression. Take the letter A, for example, the Americans with Disability Act. This is a civil rights law that was passed in 1990 that protects people with disabilities from discrimination. This Civil Rights Act catalyzed a major paradigm shift in changing the medical model into a social model. The medical model views disability as a defect within the individual. Disability as an aberration compared to normal traits and characteristics. In order to have a high-quality life, these defects must be cured, fixed, and completely eliminated. Healthcare and social service professionals have the sole power to correct or modify these conditions. The social model, on the other hand, says that people are disabled by barriers in society, not by their impairment or difference. It calls for an end to discrimination and oppression by advocating for education, accommodation, and universal design. This is in order to meet the needs of disabled people in an inclusive way. This is huge. Why? Because language shapes perception. In 1998, Judy Singer, a sociologist with autism, coined the term neurodiversity. By embracing the language of diversity, she positively reframed how disabled people are perceived and treated. For example, instead of using the medical model of normal and abnormal, today we use neurotypical and neurodivergent to refer to diversity in the human brain and its relationship to human behavior. when we change the narrative to a more empowering model, it changes how we treat each other. Another key word in our lexicon is intersectionality. As Audre Lorde said, we do not lead single-issue lives. Disabled people lead full, rich, meaningful, complex lives. And this includes the intersectionality of race and gender. In 2005, Patricia Byrne co-founded an organization called Sins Invalid. This is a disability justice-based performance project, and it incubates and celebrates artists with disabilities. In particular, it centralizes artists of color and LGBTQ gender variant artists as communities who have been historically marginalized. Now that we have highlighted keywords within the disability justice movement, let me offer a concrete example from my own life. Prior to seminary, I served as a nonprofit fundraiser. I was mission-driven, cause-oriented. I developed positive relationships with donors. I participated in many speaking engagements, and I wrote impactful appeal letters. I performed all my professional duties well in most areas except for one, event planning. In this area, it all came down to speed-based efficiency and outcome-driven results. My brain injury directly impacts the speed in which I process information around working memory and executive functioning. This means that fast-paced multitasking skills pose a challenging work environment for me. I figured that if I tried hard enough and worked fast enough, then maybe I might be good enough. Not just good enough as a professional earning an income, but good enough to be of worth as a human being. When I tied my inherent worth and dignity within our profit-driven, capitalistic society, I always came out lacking. But I couldn't understand why. I took it personally. For a long time, I lived with internalized oppression around productivity and speed. Clearly, I had much to learn about our white supremacy culture and how it had shaped my worldview. So, I joined fellow UU congregants to participate in a racial justice program called Beloved Conversations. Its mission is to heal the impact of racism on our lives in order to get free together. This class helped me develop a new language and understanding. While some forms of oppression are overt, many are sneaky in their subtlety, covert, difficult to name and identify. And without being able to name it, it makes it all the more challenging to enact social change. This nuanced approach, of course, is by design. Its purpose is to maintain the silence and invisibility. These various types of oppression lead to shame, isolation, and alienation. In considering oppression within the context of disability, I became keenly aware of the intersection between productivity and disability. In capitalism prioritizes productivity as your value and worth lie in how much you can produce for profit. So, what happens when some brains and bodies don't produce at the same rate as others? Does that make them less worthy? I mean, you can't reduce a person's inherent worth and dignity down to labor alone, right? What about their humanity? This line of questioning turns very bleak very quickly in light of our American history. This is exactly what we did to Black and Indigenous people. We reduced their humanity down to labor alone, resulting in slavery for Black people in the name of profit. As for Indigenous people, we stripped them of their land in the name of profit, and in addition, we stripped them of their cultural heritage through colonization in the name of civilization. My awareness of oppression galvanized me to join the disability justice movement in working towards greater equity and inclusion. It also led me to transfer my nonprofit fundraising skills into the field of ministry, from donor relations to pastoral care, from writing appeal letters to writing sermons, from public speaking to preaching, from event planning to retreat facilitation. Thank goodness. Both fields value relationship building and service outreach. Yet in nonprofit fundraising, the working conditions require speed-based productivity and efficiency. In ministry, the working conditions require contemplation, reflection, and discernment. I share my own story for two reasons. First, I wish to humanize neurodiversity so that it feels tangible and relatable to people's everyday lives versus clinical and abstract. Second, I want to acknowledge the visible and invisible disabilities that are integral to our movement of disability justice. As for visible disabilities, wheelchair accessibility highlights a powerful part of our history. This includes the intersectionality of disability and race. For example, Brad Lomax was a disability activist with multiple sclerosis. He was also a member of the Black Panther Party. He and Judy Heumann, along with hundreds of other disability activists, joined forces in organizing and leading the 504 sit-in protests in San Francisco. As the disability slogan goes, nothing about us without us, and that includes me. Together, these activists made history in helping to pass Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. This law marked the first U.S. federal civil rights protection for people with disabilities. As for invisible disabilities, these include dyslexia, epilepsy, mental health issues, and ADHD, ADD, to name just a few. In our society, what is not seen is often dismissed and rendered invalid. After all, where's the proof? Where's the evidence? The act of affirming neurodiversity lies in honoring the fullness of one's humanity, whether one's disability is seen or unseen, visible or invisible. As part of our disability justice movement, we need to make this point absolutely clear. A person's inherent worth and dignity is fully intact and held as sacred apart from one's productivity. Let me repeat that for sheer holy emphasis. A person's inherent worth and dignity is fully intact and held as sacred apart from one's productivity. Regarding the connection between neurodiversity and spirituality, here's what I have to share from my own lived experience. I am a visual, kinesthetic, experiential learner. For me, eco-theology plays a huge part in shaping my ministry. Why? Because it speaks to the depth, richness, and dignity of slowing down as an act of sacred embodiment. This slower pace also honors the earth's rhythms, seasons, and cycles of life. Environmentalist Wendell Berry expresses it beautifully in these words: "Blessed is the life lived at a pace that is in sync with the land on which it is lived." My spiritual practice originates from a monastic tradition called Lectio Divina. This is Latin for the meditating on the divine lectionary of biblical scripture. Given my deep connection with the natural world as my source of sacred scripture, I have adapted this meditation to Terra Divina, which means divine earth. Here are a few examples of my daily practice of connecting imagery with words through my nature walks. Some days, I am reminded of life's subtle, quiet, transient qualities, like mist hovering over water and blurring treetops. Mist, mysterious, irreducible, sly, testing boundaries. Other days, I experience transcendent moments of sheer beauty, like a cormorant bird silhouette mirrored on a golden lake early in the morning. Mirror, marveling at exquisite balance, equilibrium, poise, iridescent beauty, regal ease, royal composure, ordinary grace through nature's extraordinary grandeur, reverence and awe. After a lifetime of relentless, speed-driven striving, I find refuge and redemption in nature's organic unfolding of budding growth. Buds blooming in one's own sweet time, unfurling at one's own pace, delighting in a grace-filled rhythm of ease, surrendering to a kairos time of sacred seasons. And then there are days when I am moved by a simple garden statue, evoking the image of shelter. It leads me to reflect on what it means to shelter and be sheltered by each other as a community of faith. Shelter, sanctuary, healing space, embers glowing, listening presence, together in community, ease, rest. Words matter. Language matters. Whether you are fierce, ferocious, or just plain fabulous, like that 4-year-old girl with dinosaur bones, know this. Your unique ways of thinking and being in the world are a blessing. May we, as a people of faith and service, join together in affirming neurodiversity as a vibrant way of life that enriches each person through visible and invisible ways. And may we find wonder, beauty, and shelter in each other as a hospitable sanctuary of radical inclusion and welcome. May it be so. Amen, shalom, salam, namaste, and ashe. And now I invite us into our closing hymn, number 1017, Building a New Way. It is on a teal hymnal, and the words will appear on the screen. Thank you for joining us. Beautiful music. Thank you. So I invite you for the today after our service to exit through the foyer. Coffee and tea will be served in the breezeway between our two buildings, and you are welcome to bring your beverage and snacks back into the building if you wish. And for our closing benediction, may we remember that all brains and bodies are sacred, worthy of dignity, respect, and belonging. And as part of this benediction, I invite you to join me in it's a special video produced by Ladera Korn called Until Every Barrier Falls. Ladera highlights key moments of American history around disability justice, designed in a compelling artistic style through his own lived experience with learning disabilities. I hope you find it as powerful and inspiring as I do. Thank you for joining me in helping to create a more just, equitable world together around disability justice.
This is for the ones who would not be trapped behind exclusion. Shameful wall. And this is for the ones who will continue to push until every barrier falls. This is for every wounded warrior who came home and challenged our grateful. Who would not be trapped behind exclusion's shameful wall. And this is for the ones who will continue to push until every barrier falls. This is for every wounded warrior who came home and challenged our grateful nation to elevate its expectations. This is for the ones who blocked the buses, sat in the sit-ins, and crawled to the Capitol. This is for the protesters, the marchers, those adapt angels with wheelchair wings who troubled the waters of their time so that this generation might live in a more inclusive now. As I write this, all over America, monuments are falling, and only questions stand atop each empty pedestal as I recite this. I hope an artist is listening and will respond with marble and bronze. But until then, Ed Roberts, Judy Heumann, this poem is for you. Let each line chase the light in your smiles and trace the contours of your commitment. Let these words salute those dedicated to the ideals that equality sprouts from the branch of equity. Independence is the flower that grows from access, and freedom is rooted in the soil of advocacy. This is for the ones who've embraced the reality that humanity is both fragile and mighty. When we ask for help, it is not a sign of weakness, but instead is an indication of our determination. However you navigate, it is legit. This is for those who read with their eyes, ears, and fingertips. This is for the minds that dance in details, and for the wide-eyed ones that remake the world with every thought they think. We are the river of innovation from which the whole world drinks. And who am I? I am a lover of words, left heartbroken by every spelling test. In school, my desk was in a classroom at the end of the hall, so this poem is for me too. Within me is the meeting of two movements. I am black and blue. My disability is hidden, and I am the descendant of those who could not hide. I am your neighbor, your countryman, one of the poets our nation has produced. And here is what I know to be true. This world is not enough. And if this here is what we call normal, I say, let's be different. Let us, on this day, celebrate every shape, every color, every way. Let our actions commemorate the array of our being. Build a future in service of the multitude, and let this century be the wilderness from which our better selves are born.